So Branch just released their brand new Ergonomic Chair Pro. This is an upgrade to the original Branch Ergonomic Chair, which is currently their most popular model and one of my favorite budget office chairs in the $300-ish price range. The new Pro version is positioned as a mid-range office chair starting at $499. It aims to improve on the original by adding more adjustability options, material choices, and just overall upgrades to the previous design. But are these new changes actually worth the roughly $200 price increase over the original? In this video, I'll be giving you my full review of the Branch Ergonomic Chair Pro after testing it for the past week. We'll go over the key differences between the Pro and the original, discuss what I like about the chair, as well as the things that I don't like about the chair to help you decide if this is going to be a good fit for you. Now, before we dive in, I just want to mention that I bought this chair with my own money. This video isn't sponsored, but I do have some affiliate links down in the description. If you find this review helpful and want to check out this chair, please consider using those links as it really helps support the channel at no extra cost to you. Now, with that out of the way, let's jump right into the review by talking about the design. So at first glance, the Branch Ergonomic Chair Pro looks very similar to the original. The shape of the chair and the outer frame are basically identical. Though this isn't necessarily a bad thing, I actually really like the design of the original Branch Ergonomic Chair. It has a sleek and modern look that fits into pretty much any setup. One thing I did notice is that the Pro offers fewer color options than the original. The colors available for the Pro are more neutral and toned down compared to the brighter, more vibrant colors on the original. And this kind of makes sense given that the Pro is geared more towards professional work environments. A big addition to the Pro model is the option for vegan leather and genuine leather upholstery, which adds to the professional aesthetic. These leather options do cost a bit more, but they really elevate the look of the chair in my opinion. Now, when it comes to the materials and build quality, the Pro feels very similar to the original Branch Ergonomic Chair. The frame is basically identical, which isn't necessarily a bad thing since the original had pretty solid build quality. You've got a metal base and a dense plastic frame that makes the chair feel very sturdy. However, like the original Branch Ergonomic Chair, the frame is quite rigid and lacks flexibility, which we'll talk more about once we get into the comfort of the chair. For this review, I'm using the vegan leather option. It feels pretty high quality, looks good, and adds a bit of softness to the chair in my opinion. Keep in mind though that the leather options, while looking great, won't be as breathable as the mesh version. So if you're someone who tends to sit hot, then the mesh version is probably the better bet. Now let's break down the comfort of this chair, starting with the seat. The seat on the Pro feels pretty spacious with a deep seat pan and seat depth adjustment. This is great for people with longer legs or people who like to sit cross-legged, but might not be ideal for shorter folks under 5 feet tall. If you're shorter than 5 feet, then even at the shallowest setting, the seat pan might press against the back of your knees, potentially cutting off circulation. That said, the seat is fully padded all around, so you really can't feel any frame edges when sitting cross-legged or shifting positions. Also, one thing I like about the seat is that when the seat pan is extended all the way, you don't really feel a gap between the backrest and the seat, which is a common issue that even top-of-the-line office chairs have. One thing to note is that the seat doesn't go very high. Branch does offer a taller cylinder as an add-on, which I definitely think you should consider. I'm 5'6", so pretty short, and I wish I had opted for the tallest cylinder since the normal one is a bit too low for my preferred desk height even when it's all the way up. A new feature that Branch added to the Ergonomic Chair Pro is a forward seat tilt. When activated, it plants your feet into the floor and puts you in a very upright position. It's really similar to what you'll find on some Haworth chairs, but it comes standard on the chair rather than as an upgrade. I personally don't use this function much, but I know some people really like it, so it's a nice addition at no extra cost. When it comes to the seat pad itself, it's thicker and more plush at the front and thinner and less padded at the back around the tailbone region. Now, I'm not actually sure if it's because the seat pad at the back is actually thinner or if it's due to the slightly contoured seat shape. In my opinion, the seat also feels softer on this Pro version compared to the original, which actually leads me to a huge issue I have with the chair. I noticed that when I was sitting in the chair for a few hours, the softer seat would actually bottom out in the back around the tailbone area where the padding is thinner. And the thing is, I don't actually have this problem on the original Branch Ergonomic Chair. This bottoming out makes the seat very uncomfortable over extended periods of time, which is pretty much a deal breaker since this is supposed to be an upgraded version of the original. Personally, I think the seat is the most important part of an office chair since it's going to be supporting the majority of your weight. So it doesn't matter what features and adjustability you add to the chair, if the seat is uncomfortable, then the chair is pretty much unusable. In my opinion, if they had just kept the seat exactly the same as it was on the original, I would have been happy since I really actually like the seat on that chair. Moving on to the backrest, the Pro now offers 3 different material options: mesh, vegan leather, and genuine leather. This is an upgrade from the original, which only came in mesh. Like I said, I'm currently using the vegan leather option, which costs an extra $50. If you want the genuine leather version, it's going to cost you an extra $150, but overall, these are pretty affordable upgrades compared to leather options on other ergonomic chairs in this price range. As for the frame of the backrest, it's pretty much identical to the original Branch Ergonomic, which unfortunately carries over a lot of the same issues. The frame is really rigid and doesn't offer any flexibility when you're moving around in the chair. The upholstery on the backrest is also pretty loose, so you tend to sink through it and feel the hard frame underneath. Also, towards the top of the seat frame is very curved, which kind of pushes your shoulders forward and can dig into your back if you're stretching or shifting around. Now, I was hoping the vegan leather would add a layer of softness, but that's not really the case here. If we look at the back, it looks like it's just the mesh version with a thin layer of vegan leather on top. Honestly, I would have preferred if the vegan leather version had a traditional foam padded backrest, or at least some extra foam padding to make it feel a bit softer. And while I wouldn't say this backrest is uncomfortable, I do wish they addressed some of these issues from the original in this Pro version, especially given the price increase. Now, on a more positive note, the lumbar support has been redesigned and is much improved over the original in my opinion. It uses a much thicker, softer padding material that's a lot more comfortable than before. In my opinion, the old lumbar support on the Branch Ergonomic Chair was too aggressive and the pad tended to dig into your back. On the Pro version, you now have depth adjustment along with height adjustment, where the original only had height adjustment. That said, you don't have precise control over the depth with a knob or anything, but rather you get two modes that you can choose from by twisting the tabs on the back. In the strong lumbar setting, it's pretty pronounced, but doesn't feel pokey. If you're someone who likes aggressive lumbar support, then you'll probably like this. In the looser setting, you can barely feel it. You can even see how floppy it is as I move the pad around. Personally, I like having it set to this option because I found the lumbar support in the original Branch Ergonomic to be a bit too aggressive for my taste. And just the normal curve of the backrest provides enough lumbar support in my opinion. That said, it would be nice to have more control over the depth adjustment rather than just these two modes. You can either have it aggressive or nearly non-existent, but really I would prefer something in between. Still, overall, the lumbar support is a solid upgrade over the original in terms of comfort and adjustability. The recline on the Pro is pretty smooth thanks to the synchro tilt mechanism. It offers a pretty deep recline, which is good for lounging. With the Pro, we don't have a tilt limiter with set backstop positions, but the chair does allow you to lock yourself in a recline position. Now, I really like this for lounging because you don't need to engage any muscles to stay in a reclined position. Now, one of the biggest improvements on the Ergonomic Chair Pro is the location of the tilt tension knob. It's now on the side of the chair, which is a huge upgrade from the original Branch Ergonomic. On the original, the tilt tension adjustment was in possibly the worst location I've ever seen on a chair. It was this small little dial recessed into the mechanism on the bottom of the chair. It was pretty much impossible to adjust while sitting in the chair, and most people probably didn't even know that it was there. I mean, even other chair reviewers missed the fact that the chair even had a tilt tension adjustment, and I don't really blame them. That said, while the new location is a big improvement, it's still not perfect. The knob isn't very responsive, taking about 50 turns to go from the lowest tension to the highest. But once everything is dialed in the way that you want it, the recline does feel pretty good. Now let's talk about the armrests. The armrests on the Pro version have been significantly improved over the original Branch Ergonomic. Now, Branch calls these their 5D adjustable arms. You have the same height and depth adjustments as before, as well as the width adjustments where the entire arms go in and out. New to the Pro are pivot adjustments and kind of more standard width adjustments where just the arm pads slide left and right. Now, it's a bit strange to me that they kept the old width adjustments and added these new ones and called it 5D. I don't know, it just seems a little redundant to me. It's not really 5D, it's just adding another width adjustment that pretty much accomplishes the same thing. Personally, I prefer the sliding arm pad adjustments over the entire arms coming in and out, just because it's a little less clunky to adjust. I wish they would just get rid of the adjustment where the entire arm moves in and out altogether and just increase the range of motion on the sliding arm pad adjustments. Speaking of which, for both of these new adjustments, the range of motion isn't that great. The pivot angle is tiny, and for the new width adjustments, the arm pads don't really slide left and right all that much. The range of motion for the height, depth, and full arm width adjustments is pretty good, the same as the original Branch Ergonomic Chair. Now, because of this, it definitely makes me feel like these new adjustments are kind of just an afterthought that they crammed into the original design to market it as 5D adjustable, rather than actually redesigning the armrest from the ground up. That said, it's still better than not having these new adjustments at all, so I'll take it. As for the arm pads themselves, they're definitely improved on this chair. They're much softer and have a decent amount of give to them compared to the original Branch Ergonomic Chair, where the arm pads were very hard and stiff. These new ones are much more comfortable to use, and you can really dig your elbows into them without feeling any discomfort at all. Overall, I'd say the armrests on the Branch Ergonomic Chair Pro are pretty good. While I'm not the biggest fan of the 5D adjustability buzzword, they're still a pretty significant upgrade over the original, so I'm happy with them. So now let's talk about value. The Branch Ergonomic Chair Pro starts at $499 for the mesh version, $549 for the vegan leather, and $649 for the genuine leather. Now, one thing I do appreciate is that Branch doesn't charge extra based on the color options that you choose. A lot of the major brands significantly increase the price depending on which color you choose. The vegan and genuine leather options are very affordable compared to other ergonomic chairs. Most ergonomic chairs with leather or vegan leather configurations cost a lot more to upgrade. For example, the Haworth Soji's standard version is around the same price as the Branch Ergonomic Chair Pro, but if you want to upgrade the Soji to leather, it'll basically double the price of the chair. Compare that to the extra $150 for leather on the Branch chair. Now when it comes to the warranty, the Branch Ergonomic Chair Pro comes with a 7-year warranty on parts and components and a 3-year warranty on fabrics. Branch also offers 30-day returns, but you do have to pay a $40 return shipping fee. Now it's worth noting that this warranty policy is the same as what you're going to get on the regular Branch Ergonomic Chair, despite the Ergonomic Chair Pro being much more expensive. Now while a 7-year warranty is good for a $300-ish chair on the original Branch Ergonomic Chair, at $500, now we're starting to compete against chairs from the major brands like Haworth and Steelcase, who offer 12-year warranties. Now that's a factor that's often overlooked, but I definitely think it's something that you should keep in mind when considering the long-term value of your purchase. So ultimately, would I recommend the Branch Ergonomic Chair Pro? Honestly, it's a tough call. I really like most of the upgrades on the Pro compared to the original Branch Ergonomic. They've added more material options, including vegan leather and genuine leather. The lumbar support is better, and they've improved the adjustability with a forward seat tilt and a better placed tilt tension knob. And the armrests are also a significant upgrade. However, there are a couple things holding me back from being able to recommend this chair. First, it doesn't fix some of the main issues that I had with the original. The frame is still rigid and doesn't offer any flexibility. Also, you still sink through the backrest and feel the hard frame underneath when you're stretching or shifting around in the chair, which can be pretty uncomfortable. Second, and probably more concerning, there's a new issue that I didn't have with the original, and that's the fact that the seat is softer and bottoms out, particularly around the tailbone area. Now this straight up makes the seat uncomfortable for long sessions, which is a huge problem, especially when the original cheaper model didn't have this issue. And like I said, the seat comfort is probably the most important factor when choosing an office chair. It doesn't really matter if you add a bunch of new features and adjustability options. If the seat is uncomfortable for you, then it's a deal breaker. Ironically enough, for me, this makes the original Branch Ergonomic Chair more comfortable to sit in for long periods, despite the Pro's improvements in other areas. And keep in mind, the original Branch Ergonomic Chair is only $329 rather than $499. Now with that said, I hope you guys enjoyed my review, and again, as a reminder, if you're interested in checking this chair out or any of the other chairs mentioned throughout the video, I'll have links to them down in the description. If you found this review helpful, I'd really appreciate it if you'd hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And if you have any questions about the Branch Ergonomic Chair Pro, or want to know how it compares to other chairs, feel free to leave me a comment below. And finally, if you're still undecided on a chair, be sure to check out some of my other comprehensive office chair reviews by clicking here.